Hey everyone, and welcome. Today, we're diving into the kitchen to explore a world that's all about technique, touch, and some really cool technology. We're going to break down exactly how people with low or no vision can whip up amazing meals and do it with total confidence and skill.
So, let's start with the big question you're probably thinking. How in the world do you cook a meal you can't see? At first, it might seem incredibly daunting, maybe even impossible. But the answer is actually this fascinating blend of smart preparation, tuning into your other senses, and using some pretty clever tools.
Before a single vegetable gets chopped or a stove burner even gets lit, the most important work is already done. It all starts with the space itself, creating a kitchen that's predictable, safe, and super easy to navigate just by touch and memory.
Now, this is the absolute bedrock of it all. A place for everything and everything in its place. Sure, that's good advice for any cook, right? But for a non-visual cook, it's totally non-negotiable. Consistency is everything. Knowing the salt is always to the left of the stove or that the olive oil is always on the right, that's not just for convenience. It's the very foundation of cooking safely and efficiently. So how do you tell a can of tomatoes from a can of beans if you can't read the label? This is where tactile labeling comes in, and it's just brilliant. It's all about making containers identifiable by touch. You could put a single rubber band on the can of corn and two on the can of peas, or you could use puffy paint to draw a simple T for tomatoes. It's a simple, totally customizable system that makes your whole pantry accessible.
And setting up this system is actually really logical and straightforward. First, you group similar things together. All your spices here, all your oils there. Then you pick your labeling method and stick with it. And the final, most important step is just committing to it. Always put things back where they belong. That discipline is what removes all the guesswork and lets you build a perfect mental map of your kitchen.
An organized space is definitely a safer space, but there are also some specific rules that are just critical. Things like always turning pan handles inward so you don't accidentally knock them, using long oven mitts that protect your arms, not just your hands, and of course knowing exactly where your knives and your fire extinguisher are at all times. Even putting a tiny bump dot on your stove dial for 350 degrees means you know exactly what temperature you're setting. Every little rule adds another layer of safety and builds that confidence. Okay, so with the kitchen all set up for success, we can get to the really fun part, the how of cooking. And this is where your other senses get to take center stage and become these incredibly powerful culinary tools. This quote really just says it all, doesn't it? We so often think of cooking as something we do with our eyes. We look to see if the chicken is golden brown. But is that the only way to know? Not even close. Your sense of hearing, smell, and touch can tell you pretty much everything you need to know. Let's just compare for a second. Instead of seeing your food brown, you listen for the sound of the sizzle to change from a gentle hiss to a sharper crackle. You smell that amazing aroma as it goes from raw to roasted. Instead of looking at a line on a measuring cup, you just use a standard half-cup measure, and you know exactly what you have. And you definitely don't need to see boiling water when you can hear that unmistakable deep rumbling sound it makes. It's just using a different set of data to get to the exact same delicious result. But of course, there are some challenges that might seem extra tricky without sight, like how do you pour a glass of water and not have it overflow? Or how do you chop up an onion without, chopping a finger? And the answer for every single one of those challenges is beautifully simple. There is always a proven technique or a handy tool specifically for that job. It's all about finding the right solution. Let's take chopping. This is a perfect example. It's called the claw grip, and it's what they teach in culinary schools everywhere. It's so simple. You just make a claw shape with your hand on the food, tucking your fingertips safely underneath. Then, you rest the flat side of the knife blade right up against your knuckles, and your knuckles become a guide. Your fingertips are never exposed to the blade, and you can make perfect, even slices all by feel. Now, beyond just pure technique, modern technology has opened up this whole new world of assistive tools. These gadgets complement all those skills and make the kitchen even more independent and accessible. And check out some of these brilliant examples. A liquid level indicator is this tiny little device you hang on the side of your cup, and it beeps when the water gets close to the top. No more spills. Or a talking thermometer that just tells you the temperature out loud so you know for a fact your chicken is cooked through. These aren't super complicated gadgets, but they are absolutely empowering. And honestly, these few tools are just the tip of the iceberg. There are literally hundreds of different independent living products out there, all designed to make tasks in the kitchen and really all over the house safer and easier. So when you really put it all together, you see that cooking without vision isn't some kind of magic trick.
It's all about method. It starts with that solid, organized foundation. It relies on mastering your other senses, sound, smell, touch, and it's all boosted by smart techniques and helpful technology. In the end, it just proves that being a great cook is about skill and strategy, not about sight.
Which kind of leaves us with a bigger question to think about, doesn't it? When we stop relying so much on just one sense, what new skills are we capable of learning? And what does that teach us about what it really means to be independent and capable in any part of our lives?